Well, good morning. This morning we read Nehemiah chapter 13, and it's a chapter about holiness, about making sure that God's people are kept pure. It starts off with the book of the law being read and the people finding that they shouldn't have Ammonites or Moabites in the assembly of God's people. And they put this into practice. However, we have to be careful how we read the scripture. We can read this in a very black and white way. But we know, having read all of the rest of the Old Testament, that Ruth was a Moabitess and was accepted into the people of God. In fact, was an ancestor of David and Solomon and their descendants. And so when we read this and we read the part about foreign wives, what do we make of that? It seems that it was possible that those who remained Amorites or Moabites, those whose loyalty was to that worldly kingdom, couldn't be part of God's people. But it was possible for a person to say, like Ruth did, your God will be my God, and then be accepted into the people of God. But it is important that the people of God are kept pure. As Baptists, we have a system of membership where people have to demonstrate that they're part of God's people to come into membership with us. They demonstrate it by being baptized, by answering questions about their life and lifestyle, and then they come in as part of God's people to keep God's people pure and holy people, just like in these. Then they had backslidden on the Sabbath. They were trading on the Sabbath just as they had before the exile. And Nehemiah dealt with that. He also dealt with cleansing the temple. They'd started to use the temple private use. They'd even rented the temple to one of the enemies of the people, and Nehemiah cleansed the temple. And so this is a chapter about holiness, about purity, about making sure that we live every area of our lives holy and pure before God. We don't allow in foreign, ungodly, worldly influences. We keep them out, and we keep out foreign, ungodly, worldly behaviors too. Nehemiah was zealous for God and for his people. He wanted the people to be pure and holy before God. We want to, in our lives, to cast out all that which would distract us and would draw us away from the Lord, that we may be pure and holy. Maybe there are influences we need to remove, get out of our lives. Maybe there are practices we need to stop and desist so that we may live holy and pure lives before the Lord.